Hey guys, today we're going to do the unboxing and overview of a very special laptop. So this is the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Fold. It is the very first and so far the only laptop on the market that is a foldable. So I mean, we have folding screens on smartphones right now with the Samsung Galaxy Fold and the Galaxy Flip, as well as the Motorola Razr Fold. I've had experiences with all these different foldables as well, but I have not been able to get my hands on a foldable laptop until now. So the ThinkPad X1 Fold originally came out last year, and I've been keeping my eye on it because it is a very interesting device. It is, like I said, the only laptop on the market that has a foldable display. It essentially is a tablet laptop hybrid. And I didn't go for it last year because all the reviews basically said this is an early adopter device. It's very much a first-gen product with a lot of flaws in it. And the price. I mean, when it first came out last year, the MSRP was $2,400 for the base device and $2,700 if you want to add the Bluetooth keyboard in, which is pretty much an essential if you want to use this as a laptop. So yeah. $2,700 is a lot to stomach for a laptop, and that's just really expensive for a laptop with a essentially Core M processor in it. It has a Core i5 L16G7, which is basically the successor to the old Core M5 processors, 1.4 gigahertz, and it's meant to be very low power. Also has 8 gigs of RAM that's non-upgradable, so you're stuck at 8 gigs no matter what. Only the SSD can be increased as you go up the configurations up to 1 terabyte, I believe. But yeah, if you're stuck with a Core i5 like M version processor and 8 gigs of RAM and you can't upgrade any of that, then yeah, you're always going to run into a limit with the power on this device, making it essentially, yeah, just like a regular tablet or UMPC, but a very, very cool one. So yeah, for many reasons I didn't pick this up, and I was waiting for a chance to get this on discount because I knew that this device wouldn't sell very well. It's just, I mean, the price and everything is just going to keep it out of most people's hands. And I knew that the price of this product has to drop sometime. And it did drop. So now, with the Black Friday savings, I got this laptop for only $1,200. So yeah, that's including the Bluetooth keyboard, which means I saved about $1,500 on this laptop. Got it for $1,200. MSRP was $2,700. So yeah, let's do the unboxing and see what's inside. First of all, I have to note that it did come with an adapter separately. So yeah, this is adapter, charges with USB-C, of course. I believe it only has a few ports, but yeah, comes with a USB-C charger, typical Lenovo style charger here. It's not too big. It's basically your standard travel size charger. But of course, this laptop is meant to be super portable, so it's not meant to be a heavy duty laptop meant for gaming or anything. It's meant to be a super portable laptop. What's cool about this one is not only is it portable, but it's also very versatile as well. So here we go. ThinkPad X1 Fold, the world's first foldable OLED screen PC, and also comes with a mini keyboard in this version. Unrivaled authentic design. It's bound in premium authentic leather, 100% genuine leather. Okay, interesting. So yeah, it does come with genuine leather to protect it, and that's part of the device, I believe. You cannot take it off, so it's not like some sort of case or something like that. You can't take it off. The leather is part of the laptop, and you have a foldable mini keyboard in here that's designed for the laptop. That's the version I got. So $1,200 is the version with the keyboard. I think you can get the version without the keyboard for $1,000. So you can get it at quite a big discount from the original MSRP currently. And it has a built-in kickstand. Again, if you're going to use this laptop slash tablet in a variety of positions, then having the kickstand is nice for that versatility. And then here are the different ways you can use it. Essentially, you can have it propped up with the kickstand and the Bluetooth keyboard separately, or you can lay it down flat like a regular tablet, or you can use it as kind of like a dual screen laptop. I think I had a few devices, a few UMPCs in the past, which can actually already kind of pioneer this sort of dual touchscreen display thing. That was the Acer Iconia 6120 and the Toshiba Libretto W100, which I covered in a previous video already. So those laptops actually predated this one by like 10 years, and it really had this dual touchscreen concept. But yeah, it didn't have the foldable display or anything, but essentially it was the prototype, you know, dual touchscreen laptop to this one. In the Lenovo Yoga Book as well, it had dual touchscreens. So there are a few laptops that came before, like years and years before, that already had the dual touchscreens and stuff like that. But again, this is the first foldable OLED display on a laptop, so that part has to be, I had to give props to Lenovo for that. That part is original. So yeah, 2 USB ports, that's it. Doesn't come with anything else. No headphone jack, no full-size USB port, no HDMI, no SD card slot. Just 2 USB-C ports, that's it. So you're gonna have to definitely live the dongle life if you use this laptop. And also comes with optional pens. I believe my version also comes with pens. Lenovo Mod Pen and Pro Pen, and USB-C to Ethernet adapter, not sure if I got that. Or the Power Travel Hub, and the Fold mini keyboard, which I believe is in my bundle. Yep, then you have all the controls here. Let's go through those later. And then this is the pen here, charging connector, status indicator, click, eraser, and this some other language stuff. Okay, yeah, so that's it. That's the little introductory booklet that tells you everything about this really interesting laptop. And here it is. This laptop itself. We're going to look at the accessories. I believe it comes with the pen and the keyboard. That's what this version I bought contains. So this is the Lenovo Mod Pen. If you buy it separately, I think it might be close to $100. So it's nice. I mean, I don't really use a pen very much, but this is really nice for artists and stuff like that, I guess. If you have some artistic inkling, I believe when I was in university, actually, I really fiddled around with some Wacom tablets a lot, and I had a Gateway C7. Wait, was it C2724? Yeah, that was the model the Gateway laptop I had back then. Was a convertible and actually came with an Intreg pen. So that was actually pretty interesting. I used that a lot when I was in lectures to take notes and stuff like that. So that was a very early version of the of the pen technology, right, on a laptop. Back in 2006, 2007, I had that laptop. So yeah, that Gateway convertible came with like a nice Intreg pen, and it was an active digitizer. But now we have all sorts of different devices that we can use a pen with, right? We have the iPad Pro, we have the Surface Pro. Virtually all these convertibles now can come with pens optionally, right? Like even my HP Dragonfly kind of come with it. So yeah, a lot of devices now can come with pens. But back then, this was before tablets and stuff like that. I think I won the first convertibles that came with that stuff. It's pretty cool. It came with Windows XP Tablet Edition, believe it or not. There was a tablet edition of Windows XP. Anyways, that's kind of a tangent. This is the Lenovo Mod Pen here. So these two buttons, I believe, it's right. Okay, so this is eraser. The first button is the eraser, and the second button is the right click. So yeah, so this would be left click, right? When you're putting this on a screen, this would be the eraser, holding it down, and then I guess you'll be using this tip, I guess, for erasing, and then this will be the right click. Okay, got it. And then this is you can recharge this, right? Yeah, so it's a rechargeable. You can see here it comes with USB-C connectors right here for charging. So that's cool. You can recharge that. Alright, so yeah, my bundle came with this pen. Usually you have to get it separately. If you get the base model, it won't come with it. Now this is the keyboard, I believe. So yeah, that was just a warranty guide here. And then this should be the keyboard, which adds an extra, I think, pound. Is it under 1 pound? A little bit under 1 pound to the device, maybe 0.8 pounds to the device. Alright, so this is the special keyboard that was designed only for the X1 Fold. I mean, you can use it with other devices. It is just a Bluetooth keyboard, but it was designed specially for the X1 Fold. And there are other Bluetooth keyboards that Lenovo makes. This one does not have the travel that you would typically associate with a ThinkPad keyboard, and doesn't have the track point nub here. Doesn't have any of the track point click buttons either. So this device is not really the same as a typical ThinkPad keyboard. I would say that this device is just like a regular Bluetooth keyboard. It's got very shallow feedback and travel. I mean, it's definitely usable. It's just not the type of keyboard you would usually associate with a ThinkPad. So don't expect to have ThinkPad levels of travel and feedback here. This is yeah, this is very much a very shallow keyboard. It's not that much better than the old school, is it old school now? The old MacBook butterfly style keyboards or the Dell XPS maglev keyboards. Is not too much better than that. I mean, it is better, but not too much better. So just a very shallow amount of feedback on this. So yeah, don't expect to have very good feedback and travel on this keyboard. This is a very thin keyboard. You can tell this is how thin it is, right? This is how thin it is. It's a very thin keyboard. Really does not have much space for travel. It does charge with USB-C here. So on the side, USB-C charger right here, and this is to turn it on, right? So I guess it connects with Bluetooth, and it actually charges within the laptop itself, which you'll get to in a bit. But yeah, my first impressions of this keyboard is it's very thin and very shallow. It's not a really great typing experience, but it will definitely be better than using just a touchscreen for typing. So yeah, better than a touchscreen. Definitely not what you would expect from a full-size keyboard or anything, and not a lot of travel. And I think they had to make some compromises here. Like, yeah, I can tell that they had to make some compromises here because of the spacing. What's this button do? It's like a little heart icon. Not sure. So yeah, this keyboard was specially designed for the X1 Fold, like I said. Very interesting, and the mod pen as well. If you buy this keyboard separately, I believe it's like 200 bucks, and I don't think it's worth that price. Anyways, this is the X1 Fold. Unwrap this baby. Now, so just like with the keyboard, I don't really consider this laptop a real ThinkPad, if you will, because, you know, when I think of a ThinkPad, I don't think of a tablet, really. I mean, they've had tablets before in the past. I think I did a review on one of them, but when I think of a ThinkPad, I think of a really solidly built business laptop with a really good keyboard and the trackpoint nub and, you know, the military standard spec, you know, designs in the roll cage, swappable batteries, extended battery life, all that sort of thing. But now ThinkPads, I believe, for Lenovo, they're more and more like consumer devices, unfortunately. They've moved quite a bit away from their business roots, and now you have ThinkPads with HDR displays, stuff like that. It's more consumer focused. So yeah, the only traditional ThinkPads I would say are left are still the P series of workstations, but for all intents and purposes, the X series especially, and even the T series, they're more just like consumer type laptops now. Yeah, but especially the X series. The X series are basically almost consumer laptops. They're not really business laptops anymore. But anyways, yeah, you have this nice genuine leather back, right? According to them, it's nice genuine leather, European leather, I guess. Maybe not Napa leather, but European leather, and it has Lenovo here, has stitching or lettering here, and ThinkPad X1 here, just like on all their X products, like the X1 Carbon, the X1 Yoga, all their X1 products, they have this kind of branding now. They didn't used to have that before, but now they do. So this is a 13.3 inch 2K display, 1536 by 2048, OLED, of course, because it's a foldable, and obviously it's a touchscreen as well, so it's a tablet essentially. And the other specs, I can tell you it's 8 gigs of RAM, it's not a non-upgradable soldered, and it's got a 256 gigabyte SSD on it, which is pretty much the bare minimum these days for any kind of computer, and it's been really that way for the last 10 years. It's 256 gig SSD. And yeah, this is a very interesting laptop. I mean, it is a tablet essentially, and it's got these massive bezels on it, right? You can see like these bezels itself is really kind of a throwback to the old school tablets and old school laptops. Now everything, all the new laptops and tablets will come with micro bezels, right? It does have a webcam, right? I don't think it's a very good one, but it comes with apparently a 5 megapixel webcam up here for business meetings. You gotta have some sort of business credentials or creds if you're gonna be a ThinkPad, right? And yeah, it only has 2 ports. So it has one USB port, USB-C port down here, and this is the power button, I believe. No, it's actually maybe a nano SIM slot. So I think there is a nano SIM slot here where you can enter in your mobile WAN. So if you have a SIM card, you can actually enter it here, and then you can use your internet on the go. And there's another USB port right here, and this is your second USB-C port and the only other port you have on this device. So you have 2 USB-C ports. That's it. If you want to use any sort of extensions, full-size USB, HDMI, Ethernet, SD, you have to use a dongle for that, or a dock. And that's it. Yep, no headphone jack even. If you want to use a headphone jack, you got to use a USB-C dongle for it. USB-C DAC, right? So yeah, that's kind of crazy, right? Even a headphone jack, I mean, a ThinkPad without a headphone jack, who would have thought, right? But now here we are, a ThinkPad without a headphone jack. It's trying to be like an iPad now. Then on the right-hand side, you get the volume controls, which is pretty typical for tablets and convertibles to have the volume controls on the side. And you have the power button right there, of course. And then you have the kickstand, so you can lift the kickstand up like this. I think this laptop, although it can be disassembled, I don't recommend it because it's a very complicated device to disassemble. So nothing is really upgradable on this anyways. So yeah, that's really it. But yeah, if you use it with a kickstand, it can stand up like that. It's sort of like a fixed angle. Yeah, I think it's just that. Yeah, you can set it up at one angle only. It's probably the angle most people will be comfortable with, but still, it'll be nice to have multiple angles and a better kickstand. Like, yeah, why can't it just be like flip up like this, right? And have this bottom part be able to flip up. That's what the new Nintendo Switch OLED version does, and that's a much better kickstand design instead of just using this. This, you only have one angle you can use it at, pretty much it. Yeah. And it's not very stable, honestly. Then finally, we have the reason why this device is so expensive, the ability to fold the screen in half. So there you go. Folds all the way in half like this, and it folds into sort of like a book. Yeah, it's kind of like a decent sized book now, the dimensions of the folded laptop. So you have the ThinkPad X1 branding right here on the outer cover, and Core i5. Gotta have that Intel branding as well. And yeah, and then you still have the kickstand right here if you want to use it instead of prop it up like a book. You can do that. But yeah, it folds into, yeah, sort of like a decent sized book size like this. And then if you want to open up the laptop again, you can do it like that. Now, another reason why I think the foldable laptop doesn't sell as well as the foldable phones is because foldable phones has a very deliberate use case, right? Having a phone that flips out into a tablet, that's very useful, right? Basically having a tablet that you can carry in your pocket at all times. Now, when you fold up a laptop like this, yes, it becomes more portable, it becomes more smaller, but still, it's not going to fit in your pocket, right? You're still going to have to carry a bag with this. And if you're going to carry a bag, then you might as well just carry a larger laptop, right? So that's the other thing, is the use case for a foldable laptop just isn't, it's not as prominent as having a foldable phone, right? Like, how many people really need a foldable laptop? Just think about it. A lot of people want a foldable tablet, even the vertical folding phones, like for example my Samsung Z Flip, yeah, that has its use cases too, right? I can even put this one in my shirt pocket if I wanted to. But a foldable laptop, the use case I can think of is maybe if you're a woman and you carry a purse with you, the purse is not going to fit a full-size laptop, of course, but it will fit this. For guys, no, we don't have a big use case for this, because any backpack or, you know, brief shoulder bag or a briefcase, anything that you might carry will fit a full-size laptop. So you don't even need to have something this small, because what's the advantage of that? We don't carry purses. We don't carry, like, unless you carry like a really small shoulder bag maybe. But yeah, usually for guys we carry a backpack, we carry a shoulder bag, briefcase, and this can fit in that very well, but so can a 13-inch laptop, right, an Ultrabook. So we don't really have too many advantages over that. But I still think this laptop is very interesting, right? That it folds into such a small shape. And then you can open up like this, and you can use the bottom as sort of more like a touch keyboard, and you'll have this as more of like a dual screen laptop, the way that some of the earlier laptops I mentioned, the Acer Iconia 6120 and the Toshiba Libretto W100, like those earlier laptops already had this kind of concept in mind, right? Having the bottom essentially just be a touchscreen keyboard and the top, be the main display. So yeah, if you use it in this form factor here and have the displays be split into two, I believe each half is like 7 point something inches. I'll have to check, but I think it's maybe like 7.4, 7.5 or something like that. So yeah, around there. So it's interesting, the use cases of this. You can use it as a full-size tablet like this, full-size 13-inch tablet. Or you can have the kickstand be open and then use the Bluetooth keyboard and have this essentially be like a 13-inch all-in-one PC type of thing. Or you can fold it up like this and use it more like a netbook or UMPC and have the touchscreen be on the bottom, very similar to my Toshiba Libretto W100. Yeah, there's many ways to use this, right? This makes it very interesting and versatile. Another thing I have to point out is that the display is 4:3 aspect ratio, and this, so far, we have not seen any 4:3 ratio Windows laptops for a very long time, right? The only other 4:3 ratio device we've seen is the iPad, and the iPad runs iOS, which is iPad OS, sorry, which is a mobile operating system. So it's been a very long time since we've seen a device with a 4:3 aspect ratio that runs a desktop operating system, and this is it. Finally, we have a 4:3 aspect ratio device that runs Windows, a desktop operating system. But it is on the most interesting and unusual device, I think. I don't think anyone expected the next 4:3 aspect ratio ThinkPad to be something like this. I remember when I bought my ThinkPad TP25, which is the 25th anniversary edition, many people complained that it wasn't a 4:3 aspect ratio and, it's not retro enough. A lot of people complained about that. It was a 16:9, right? A very standard widescreen aspect ratio. So they complain, oh, it's not 4:3, right? The last real 4:3 ThinkPad device was the ThinkPad X1, which I did a video on a few years ago, and I compared it to the TP25. And the X61 from 2007, that was, I think, one of the last ThinkPads to have a 4:3 aspect ratio, and one of the last computers, one of the last laptops in general to have a 4:3 aspect ratio. So now here we are, 2021, and we finally get another 4:3 aspect ratio laptop, except it's in one of the most interesting form factors, and I don't think it's in a way that anyone could have predicted that 4:3 aspect ratio would come back in a laptop in this way, right? In a foldable OLED design. That's really cool and interesting. And yeah, once you put the keyboard on here, the Bluetooth keyboard, I believe it just fits in there magnetically, right? See how that just snaps? Just fits it in, just completely snaps in there magnetically, so you don't have to adjust it or align it. It just fits like that. And once you do it like this, now it really becomes like a UMPC, doesn't it? Right? It turns into a very, very netbook, very UMPC-like form factor. So you essentially just have like a 7-inch UMPC / netbook now. Yeah, and that's cool. I mean, you have a very interesting UMPC essentially. Once you close it, by the way, it actually charges the keyboard while you close like this. So once you close like this, it also eliminates the gap, right? So if you don't have this keyboard in here, there's actually a gap, a little bit of a gap a la the Microsoft Surface Book, right? It would have this kind of gap as well. The way that you can close the gap is by putting the keyboard in, and now it doesn't have that gap anymore. So I really think that this device is meant to be used with this keyboard. It really should always be used with the keyboard, I think, for people who really want to get work done. Like, who really wants to type on a touchscreen on the bottom, right? Like the touch keyboard, I've done that before with my Toshiba Libretto. Some laptops in the past have explored this form factor already with touchscreen keyboard at the bottom. It's not very nice to use, right? Nobody really wants to use a touchscreen for a keyboard, for a laptop anyways. And yeah, you'd much rather just have a physical keyboard like this. So you'd pretty much just always want to use the keyboard if you actually want to get some productivity work done. So I think that's the way that most people would use this device, especially when they're traveling, is they would put the keyboard on here and they would use this as a mini laptop, UMPC, netbook type of thing. But if you're going to do that, you know, why buy this laptop? Why pay so much money for it when you can just buy the GPD P2 Max or the One Mix 4? Those are netbooks or UMPCs that are much cheaper than this device, and you can do pretty much the same thing in a similar form factor, right? Also, I want to make some corrections here. I said that the Bluetooth mini keyboard here charges with USB-C. It does not. Actually, believe it or not, charges with micro USB, which is really awkward because the main laptop charges with USB-C. So why make the main laptop charge with USB-C but make the keyboard charge with micro USB? So now you got to carry around two chargers. I have no idea. So yeah, that's kind of a weird thing. Also, this comes with Dolby Atmos. How they can fit Dolby Atmos inside of a laptop like this, I have no idea. I mean, this is essentially a tablet, right? And how do you get Dolby Atmos inside of a tablet like this? No idea. But I guess we'll see. We'll find out once I start playing with it more. The battery supposedly does not last very long. I mean, this is a 13-inch OLED display. OLED displays usually suck up more juice. Plus, they don't really have a lot of space to fit a big battery in. Supposedly it'll last like 6 hours maybe. 6, 7 hours or 8 hours. Those are max hours. I think in proper testing, the reviews say that sometimes you only get 5 hours with them. So yeah, that's kind of a disappointment. With the keyboard, it weighs about 2.5 pounds, so it's not that light anymore once you add the keyboard in. I guess even when you add the keyboard in, it actually weighs more than the iPad Pro with a keyboard attached to it. So yeah, and that's another comparison I can do too, is an iPad Pro with a keyboard. The mod pen here, it fits into this little loop here. That's what it's for. It's for adding the pen, so there you go. Yeah, the keyboard and the pen right here. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about it for now. Now for comparisons, I don't have the GPD P2 Max or the One Mix 4, which I think are the closest devices to compare to this UMPC netbook mode right here. But I do have a few other devices I can compare it to. So for example, the iPad Pro that I have with the keyboard. So this is a 10.5-inch iPad Pro with keyboard attached. Pretty similar dimensions, I'd say. The Lenovo X1 Fold is still smaller and has a smaller display, of course. But if you get a iPad mini and then you put a keyboard onto it, I think that would be a more interesting comparison as well. But yeah, surprisingly, the iPad Pro 10.5 with the keyboard actually weighs a little bit less. I think this weighs about maybe 2.3 pounds, maybe 2.4, but this weighs 2.5. So believe it or not, this with a bigger display. A nicer keyboard, IMO. I'm using a Bridge keyboard here. I'm not using the Apple keyboard. Although now with the Apple Magic keyboard, it's pretty good as well. I'm used to using the Bridge keyboard, so this is my old Bridge keyboard I'm using with the older generation iPad Pro here. This keyboard I think is better than this one. This keyboard, very shallow travel and everything. It's definitely not like a ThinkPad keyboard at all. This Bridge keyboard is more like a old school, like 2015 MacBook keyboard, and that's fine. That's pretty good actually. I actually like this keyboard a lot. So in terms of the keyboard, I think I haven't tried the new Apple Magic keyboards with their iPad Pros, but as far as the Bridge keyboard goes, I think these ones are better than the Lenovo Mini keyboard here. So yeah, if I had an iPad Mini with a keyboard attached, I think that would be a better comparison size-wise, but I only have the 10.5-inch iPad Pro, so you guys can see exactly size-wise how this matches up to the iPad Pro. The X1 Fold is still smaller with the keyboard attached. I also have the One Mix Yoga 3. I can compare this as an 8.4-inch display, and I think this is maybe a closer comparison. I think the One Mix Yoga 3 is still smaller, as you can see. the closer comparison would probably be the One Mix 4, which I don't have, or even the GPD Pocket 3, which I am getting, I think, in the next few months, should be coming. So yeah, that would be an interesting comparison as well. And then, like I said, the P2 Max would be interesting to compare. And the iPad mini with the keyboard should also be similar dimensions to the P2 Max and to the X1 Fold. If you want to go even smaller, I do have the One Netbook A1 here as well, which is quite a bit smaller. So you guys can see exactly how the dimensions of the X1 Fold are if you want to use it as a netbook or UMPC. I say the closest comparisons are the One Mix 4 and the GPD P2 Max and the iPad mini with the keyboard attached. You can think of it as kind of dimensions wise, I think those are the most similar to the X1 Fold when it's in this netbook mode. So yeah, that's it. That's my first impressions from the outside, and I've yet to use it. By the way, these are all lighter than the X1 Fold, of course. The X1 Fold is actually the heaviest with the keyboard attached out of all the devices I mentioned. So yeah, if you're looking for super portability, I would actually still recommend the GPD P2 Max or the GPD Pocket 3 that's upcoming, or the One Mix 4, or the iPad mini with a keyboard, which are all going to be lighter in similar dimensions to the X1 Fold. But the X1 Fold is a very interesting device, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be a UMPC or netbook. You can have it be just a full-size 13-inch tablet if you want to, that runs on Windows. And again, the 4:3 aspect ratio is nice too. Only the iPads have that. All the other devices, the GPD and One Mix devices all have 16:10 displays, not 4:3. But yeah, that's my surface impressions of this device, and now I'm going to use it a bit and show you guys how it's like when it's in use. So stay tuned. Alright, so after spending some time with the ThinkPad X1 Fold a bit, I can share some of my impressions of it. So I mostly use it in this mini laptop mode, which is more like a UMPC netbook type of mode with the mini keyboard on. I guess this is the mode that I'm most used to since I'm a tech reviewer, and I really like small laptops like netbooks and UMPCs. I have a whole collection of them, which I've done reviews on my channel before. So yeah, I like this mode the most, and this is how I usually use it. So it's pretty cool. I mean, touchpad and everything. This touchpad is very, very small, but it does work and everything. It originally came with actually Windows Hello support, so it does have a webcam. Came with Windows Hello facial recognition before, but I can't seem to get that working after upgrading to Windows 11. So yeah, it is running Windows 11. This is actually my first time running Windows 11 and experiencing it on a device. So I haven't really explored all the different features of it. But seems like besides the facial recognition on the camera, everything else seems to be relatively the same as Windows 10 for me. So yeah, overall, using this laptop as a UMPC netbook type of device, it's adequate. I mean, like I said, the keyboard is not going to be the best keyboard that you will use or anything. It's very cramped and squished. However, it is better than say, you know, the GPD Pocket 1 and 2 keyboards, of course. Those are really smushed. And a lot of the other, like, I would even say the One Netbook, the One Mix Yoga 3 keyboard, right? This is probably the other keyboard that I can compare it to. It's around this size. I think comparing to this keyboard, I actually prefer the Lenovo's maybe even a little bit more, just because it has a touchpad, and I do prefer the touchpad to this optical track nub here. But otherwise, I think it's roughly similar to the One Mix Yoga 3 keyboard, which is a pretty decent keyboard for the size. So yeah, not the best keyboard, but for the size, I guess, and the slimness, it's fine. I don't think it's as good as the P2 Max keyboard, however. Haven't had the P2 Max in a while, but I did do a video on it, and yeah, the P2 Max keyboard might be still a bit more comfortable than this one, but this is, I think, a little bit better than the One Mix Yoga 3 keyboard, which is a little bit even more cramped, I think. So yeah, I mean, just look at the caps lock here, right? The caps lock is just tiny here. There's almost no room for it. At least here, there's room for a full-sized caps lock. So that's good. Oops. So yeah, other than that, yeah, the keyboard magnetically attaches. It actually charges when you put the fold down on it, so that's fine. There's some odd behavior sometimes with this device, like you saw that just pop up. And sometimes when I scroll on a web page, like there might be like some black bars and stuff appear on the screen. Like here goes, yeah. There's some black bars appear on the top. I'm not sure why. That's seems to be when I scroll up to the top and that happens, and I'm not sure. I think there's still some quirkiness going on, even though this laptop has a certain, it has like a Lenovo support tool. So for example, for switching between the, I would say the mini keyboard mode and the full screen mode, see how it does that? It does that automatically. Like once you attach the keyboard magnetically, then it detects that you want to use it in the mini laptop mode. See? So once I take it off, it's going to go full screen, and once I put it on, it's going to put it half screen. So it knows, I guess, magnetically. So that's pretty cool, I guess. The keyboard, once it's attached, basically once you boot up the device, it will automatically detect the keyboard. Bluetooth, so I don't have to repair it or anything. That's good. The pen is fine. I mean, I haven't used any kind of drawing software because I'm not an artist or anything. Seems like the pen works fine. This is a Wacom pen, I believe. So yeah, anything to do with Wacom tablet, 4096 levels of pressure, whatever, you have that here. I can do right click like this. Oh, like this. Yeah, and I guess I can use it to take notes if I was in school, you know, for lectures and stuff like that. So I can see how that's useful. I personally don't use the pen that much. It came with the bundle, but that's something that some other people might use, artists, or, you know, if you're a note taker, students might find it useful. But yeah, I mostly got the package for the keyboard, right? Trackpad, very tiny, but it is usable here. Right, you can do right click here. Yeah, all that's useful. No backlighting on the keyboard. I wish there was. I mean, even the One Mix Yoga has backlighting. The P2 Max does not. I believe the GPD Pocket 3 does. So yeah, no backlight lighting on this keyboard. So that's kind of a shame. And you have like this, yeah, this part here is, you can tell that's kind of a compromise on this keyboard here because of the space. Yeah, the display is gorgeous. It is an OLED display. So I love this display, and actually this is the mode I use in the most, but it is a folding display. So of course, if you want to, you know, watch something bigger, so say I want to watch YouTube or something like that, also with this weird blackness going on here, I think that might be an issue with this half display here. So I'm going to take off the keyboard, and say I want to watch like a full screen YouTube video, then I put it up like this, and then I would make it full, and I would prop it up like this with the kickstand, and then I would just enlarge this one, right? And then I can still use the Bluetooth keyboard, and say I want to watch some Teddy Baldassare and his reviews on watches and stuff
Why
like
the
that.
Alpinist was so beloved.
Yeah.
200 meters of water resistance. This is getting the new 6R35 movement on the inside.
So yeah, that all works, right? If you want to watch a bigger display, you can do that.
For
you
retail
convert it
price.
just like that.
These are fantastic watches, no question
the
about
kickstand
it.
is not the best.
Standouts from the everyday perspective this year.
It's like,
moving up to that next tier. Now, last year I spent a lot of time talking about the Zen 556, and that was kind of my standout.
Kickstand that goes the entire length of the back rather than just this.
I think for this year, the one that really was able to kind of stand out for me was the Longines Conquest at 39 millimeters. The reason why I wanted to include this one.
Anyways, yeah, that's if you want to watch full screen video, then you have the full screen tablet available to you, or if you just want to watch, if you just need a bigger display, you have that option, right?
Maybe not from the markers on the dial. I actually think the faceted markers on the T.
The Dolby Atmos, it is Dolby Atmos on the speakers, but to me, there's nothing that would imply any kind of height effect. When I think Dolby Atmos, I think, oh, it's going to have height effects, and I wonder, like, why is Dolby Atmos on mobile devices? Why is it on phones? Why is it on computers and laptops? Like, you can't reproduce those kind of height effects, like a 5.1.2, a 7.1.2 type of system on something this small, but it's just a kind of a marketing thing, I guess. The sound, I mean, it's better than my GPD and One netbook devices, but that's not really saying much because these devices have next to nothing when it comes to sound, right? It's very, very tinny. It's a mono speaker. So at least the X1 Fold has better speakers than the GPDs and One Mixes. And it doesn't quite equal my iPad Pro. So if I really want to have really good speakers, right, in a small device, like my iPad or iPad Pro, this one would be the one I would use for listening to music and stuff like that in a mini laptop-sized form factor, you know, with the keyboard and everything attached. So yeah, if the speakers really are important for you and you want a device this size, get an iPad. I think that the iPad still has better speakers than this. However, this does have better speakers than something like this, than a GPD or One netbook. But you can play some music. For example, oh yeah, so the black bar is no longer has an issue, right? So that was an issue with the half screen, I believe. The full screen doesn't seem to have that issue. I think that's a quirk that needs to be addressed. So yeah, some testing the speakers here. Yep. I mean, yeah, it's not, the speakers are not too bad for a laptop of this size, given that it's a netbook UMPC size. I mean, it's just for netbooks in general, or UMPCs in general, their speakers suck, right? So this is better than pretty much all the other UMPCs and netbooks I've listened to. Not saying much, but it is something. So yeah, the display is really, really good. I mean, it is a 13-inch 2K OLED display with all the vibrancy, the contrast, the pure blacks that you would get from OLED. And yeah, I mean, still to this day, I remember my first OLED laptop was the 2016 X1 Yoga. And even now, there isn't all too many OLED laptops on the market, despite it being 5 years later. The X1 Fold is one of them. I don't think actually Lenovo makes other OLED laptops, even though they used to make one of the first ones. So that's kind of weird, right? The X1 Yoga doesn't have an OLED version anymore. I do believe HP, Spectre, and the Asus VivoBooks, some of those are OLED, and ZenBooks. Some of those have OLED versions, but for some reason Lenovo, even though they had an OLED laptop before, the only one they have now I think is the X1 Fold. Yeah, the X1 Carbons and the X1 Yogas don't really have that option anymore. They used to, so that's weird. But yeah, I love the display. I would use this full tablet mode, I guess, whenever I'm watching movies or watching media, or maybe I need the full screen for reading like web articles or stuff like that. So that's when I can find myself using this full-size tablet display, right? When I really need the real estate for photos or videos, movies, reading stuff. And then if I'm doing like just productivity work and stuff like that, you can use it in this mode as well. You know, go into a cafe, you can just put this down, unfold it, and then just put your Bluetooth keyboard right here, and then you can like do some work on it, right? There's no headphone jack, which is unfortunate. Like I said, this is meant to be a portable product, right? A travel-oriented product, and it doesn't have a headphone jack. That's kind of weird. You need to use a dongle. So yeah. And then, yeah, if I want to just bring it back into a more portable mode, I fold it down, and then there actually is like kind of like a switcher option here as well. Here it is. So there's this Lenovo mode switcher, which can tell you how you want to orient your display, 1, 2, 2, 1, or just 1, or have it like be a full screen display like this, or have just half of it be like that. Or you can have it down, have it be at the bottom too. So this Lenovo mode switcher is pretty useful, and I think in the big tablet mode as well, you also have the option of splitting your screen into 2 vertically, or have it all just be one screen, right? So if I do this, it's all going to be one screen. Yep. So yeah, that all works. It's not perfectly executed or anything, but at least Lenovo does give you some utilities to help you with that. So yeah, you have the full tablet mode, of course. We can view the beautiful OLED display, and then if you need to have it be more portable, just put it like this. I'm gonna switch it up like that, and then put my Bluetooth keyboard on, and then oh, it knows that you only need half of the display now. So yeah, this would probably be the mode I would use the most, as just, you know, I'm a fan of netbooks and small laptops and UMPCs and stuff like that, and it's just cool to use it in this mode when I'm traveling, right? I have access to the keyboard and I have a smaller display, so I can use social media or, you know, do any type of document writing, typing in this mode. So that's all fine, and then I can either use the touchscreen or I can use the touchpad. I have 2 options here to navigate, or I can use a pen. Actually, I have 3 different options to navigate. So yeah, I probably use this mode the most when traveling, and then when I need to have the full screen real estate, the entire 13 inches, then I can just, you know, remove this and then put it in this mode with the kickstand, which I wish could be better. But yeah, I have the kickstand up, and then I can use the entire screen real estate for things like watching videos and movies, maybe doing Google Maps, stuff that requires a bigger display. Or if I'm going to a cafe like a Starbucks or something, I can just, you know, unfold this laptop, prop it up, and then use the Bluetooth keyboard, and there I have bigger screen real estate to do more productivity work on. So that's how I would probably be using this machine. It is a very versatile machine. Very expensive as well, although, you know, it has come down in price. So that's it basically, my opinions of this device, this laptop. And the battery life is not that great. It's, yeah, maybe 5 hours or 6 hours and stuff. And keep in mind, you have to charge the Bluetooth keyboard and the pen if you're using the pen in addition to the laptop itself. So that is a lot of items to charge. So gotta remember to bring a bunch of chargers, I guess. And it is not a thin device. Actually, the size of this device when it's folded like this kind of reminds me of an old school UMPC, like from the 2010s, right? Like a Toshiba Libretto or Fujitsu. So definitely looks kind of bulky like this and very old school looking, actually. And you have mobile WAN, right? For those of you who, like business travelers, who are using SIM cards on the go and stuff like that, and data only SIM cards or something, you can definitely put another one here and just be, you know, if you're on a train. I know trains are not very popular in America, but if you're in Europe or Asia, trains are quite popular, right? And this will be a perfect device actually to use when you're on the train. So very, very cool. So yeah, that's my impressions of this device. So yeah, it's a very cool, very interesting, innovative product from Lenovo. I don't think anyone else has made a folding laptop or is interested in making a folding laptop because, like I said, there's not that many use cases compared to a folding phone, honestly, right? I mean, what the use case of a folding laptop is, I mean, what you see here. It is a UMPC netbook-like device that can become a much bigger tablet when the need arises. So yeah, it's nice to have that versatility, but it's not like completely necessary, right? Like, yeah, you could just use an Ultrabook and you're not losing too much of that. And I guess if you want an even bigger display, you can always bring like a portable monitor, right? But yeah, it doesn't really do anything that you can't technically do already with an Ultrabook. So I guess that's the thing. For comparisons, again, if you're looking to do more media consumption, I highly recommend getting the iPad or iPad Pro or iPad Mini if you want to have this kind of these dimensions and attaching a keyboard to it. If you want a very similar form factor but better for media consumption. If you're into, you know, something similar but maybe a little bit less pricey, you can go for one of the One Netbook or GPD devices, the GPD P2 Max or One Mix 3 or One Mix 4. Those would all work and be quite similar to the X1 Fold. It won't have the OLED display, and I don't think the keyboard is as good as the mini keyboard here. But other than that, it's fairly similar, I guess, in terms of use case. Then, if you want to go back even further to some older devices I have, some older UMPCs, I have the King Jim Portabook. Very, very unique device with a butterfly keyboard like this, right? And even this size-wise, I guess it's got slightly less width, but just as much length, so fairly comparable in terms of dimensions. And then, if you really want to go to the direct ancestor of the X1 Fold, you go back to the Toshiba Libretto W100, which I covered before on my channel. It is a dual touchscreen netbook. So yeah, this is from 2010. So this is from 11 years ago. One of the first computers and netbooks to have this kind of design, this concept of having a touchscreen on the bottom. And in this case, this touchscreen can be used for pretty much anything as well. It's mostly used for a touchscreen keyboard, but you can also move stuff down here. And Toshiba did this with the Windows 7, right? They did this with a heavily customized version of Windows 7. Lenovo does this with a customized version of Windows 10 and 11. So yeah, this is the direct ancestor of the X1 Fold, the dual touchscreen displays. And Toshiba did this back 11 years ago. And it's actually smaller too. So yeah. That's it, guys. That's the ThinkPad X1 Fold. Very, very interesting device. Yeah, let me know if you guys would want to get it. I know it's still $1,200. It's still fairly expensive, even after a discount. But would you get it at that price? Do you think it's a unique enough product for you to buy at $1,200? With that Core, it's a Core i5, but it's basically a Core M type of processor, Core M5. And 8 gigs of RAM, that's the most you can get without upgrading it. So it's not going to be the fastest computer. It's not going to play any games or anything like that. But yeah, just for something really cool and unique and different, like would you guys pick something like this up, right? A mini laptop, UMPC netbook, and then if you want to, you can also switch it to a full-sized tablet computer like this. So it's kind of like the hybrid computers. You can do basically everything with this laptop. Very, very versatile. Just still got some quirks though on Windows 11. But otherwise, very interesting. Yeah, I'm glad Lenovo made this. I don't think anyone else will, but it is very unique, and it folds into sort of like a book form factor like this. Yeah, and it really does look like a book, especially with the pen attached. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Any questions, comments, just leave them below. So yeah, another thing is about the weight. So the X1 Fold by itself is around like 2 pounds-ish, I think, maybe a little bit less. Then you add in the keyboard, and then it's around 2.5 pounds, which makes it probably the heaviest amongst all these devices. The King Jim Portabook, I think, is also around 2.2 pounds-ish. And then you add the Toshiba Libretto, which is under 2 pounds. The One Mix Yoga 3, which is around 1.8, I believe. And even my iPad Pro 10.5 with the bridge keyboard together is around 2.2, 2.3-ish. Actually fairly close, I would say, maybe 2.4 pounds. So yeah, in terms of the weight, just keep that in mind, that even though this is small, once you add in the keyboard, it's actually just as heavy as, say, an Asus ZenBook Flip or my HP Dragonfly Elite. Actually, this HP Dragonfly Elite, which is a full-size, like 13-inch Ultrabook, is about the same weight as this, which is kind of hard to believe, right? It's like this is 2.5 pounds, this is 2.5 pounds. So yeah, it is quite thick and heavy. Well, at least more than it looks. So just keep that in mind. But it is quite a bit more portable, as you can see, right? This is a normal 13-inch laptop, and this is the X1 Fold. It weighs about the same though. So yep, that's it guys. Thanks for watching.